Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. Happy day after Halloween. You have made it through another week. You have done it. And today, just relax, enjoy. Let's talk about one of the most insane seasons of Housewives television that I've seen in a long time. And I've seen a lot in my day, but this season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, listen, if you watch it as a serious show, you're watching it the completely wrong way. This show is the funniest show on television right now. But like I said, I at times, you guys, I consider myself a professional TV watcher. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't even know what they're fighting about half the time. Half the time throughout the entire episode, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, why is she upset again? What? I watched multiple times, and that's how bizarre and insane this season is. But at the same time, it is such a joy. It just feels like it's in some sort of lucid dream that you're having. I hope, like these feel like something that I would dream. Like Bronwyn feels like a housewife that was created in a lab or I like imagined in my head, because I think if you go by like housewives lore, she's kind of this perfect housewife. I mean, she's got the wealth, she's got the quirk, she's got the humor, she stands up for herself. She's already 7 episodes in recognizing relationships of people that have been there since season 1. I think she's seeing clearly. Then we have Mary Cosby doing some sort of body switcheroo where it's not the Mary Cosby that I've seen in past seasons. It's a whole new Mary Cosby. And I find myself agreeing more with Mary Cosby than I do with other characters that I used to consider reliable narrators. I mean, what is happening in the world? Now, listen, I don't know if you're like me, but it's kind of I don't know, it's a funky week, right, man? Like the week before an election, it's a little, I don't know, it just feels weird. I think we have so many things thrown at us and so many sound bites from the news and the future of our country. If you live overseas, I don't know if you're dealing with the same sort of stuff we're dealing with right now, but it's a lot. I mean, I can't look down at my phone without getting like 30 text messages asking me to donate more money and, fight for the future of our country. So it's weird. I want to fight for the future of housewives, but hopefully today we can get your mind off of all of that. If your mind is like my mind, and hopefully it's not. But also I got to prepare you for another thing, because we got the daylight savings time happening on Sunday. So we plunge into darkness an hour earlier, which the more and more I think about it, that is such it's a criminal act, truly a criminal act. Those of you that don't have to deal with daylight savings time, good for you, man. What is that? What does that feel like? It must feel amazing. Did you guys get any good candy? Or did your kids get any good candy? Did you steal any candy from them? I said that at the beginning of yesterday's episode with Annabelle DeSisto, which, by the way, those are just really fun. It's just sincerely goofy. Somebody wrote me a message saying, she is so mean to you. And I'm like, what? I mean, which is so fun because, I mean, me and Annabelle go way back now. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I love that we tease each other in that way. It reminds me a lot of when I'm on Jeff Lewis on Sirius, and that same kind of like teasing vibe. Even though yesterday, we Doug Buden, who I think Doug Buden he's one of the co-hosts of Jeff Lewis Live, and he's just this amazing dude. Like he also hosts the Shannon and Vicky Live, Shannon Bedore and Vicky Gunvalson. I think he is just a class act. He's so amazing. And we literally spent an hour joking about him potentially being a serial killer. And then I felt so bad afterwards. I had to text Doug and say, I'm sure, because we went into like all of these theories. And I don't know. It's just, I enjoy the teasing so much. And then I still have that kind of 5th grade mentality, is I never know when it goes too far, or I never know. I've picked the wrong profession. I've completely picked the wrong profession. Speaking of OC, tonight I watched the finale already, and you probably have watched it by now. But what the hell was Shannon Bedore thinking that Katie Janela's husband Matt was talking about? Like Shannon Bedore got offended by Matt, Katie's husband, which he was saying something positive towards Shannon. And then Shannon got mad, like, are you really going to say that to me right now? And what a letdown that Johnny J thing was. Like they just pretty much had him step out of a car fully dressed to pick up Alexis Bellino. And, there was I mean, Shannon knew that Shannon tried to leave, and you could just tell the producers were like, you got to get John Jansen back here now, pronto, echo, echo, bravo, bravo. Like when Shannon threatened to leave, I bet they were like flipping out. It was a really weird kind of lopsided finale, but the trailer for the reunion that we got today looks really good. And I cannot wait for that reunion. And guess what I watched yesterday? I got the premiere of season 14 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I'm not allowed to, I mean, they say that I can't talk about it and stuff like that until it premieres. I think it's like November 19th. But it's interesting. It's interesting. I got to watch it again to really, but it already picks up pretty fractured with the group. I think Erica Jane, weirdly enough, comes off looking like the most stable one out of the entire group, which says so much. Seriously, are we living in the upside down? What is going on? What did you ever think you would hear me say? Erica Jane seems like the most stable one. Like I'm worried about myself. Let's just get through this next week, and maybe my opinions will change. How have I come around on Mary Cosby? How have I haven't fully come around on Erica Jane. I'm just saying from what I saw compared to like Doute and Kyle, she seems fairly stable, fairly stable. The only thing I will say about Erica Jane is that there is like a shopping scene. And I'm like, you're never going to fool me again with these shopping scenes. Just stop with any kind of money related. Like anytime you're spending money, all I'm thinking about is Tom Girardi. Like just don't have shopping scenes. Like well, we just get back to normal, I guess. I'm going to spend like I used to. That kind of stuff, weird to me. Man, I love when I took a nap, and I don't usually take naps. And so this is me coming out of a nap, and I have like 30 million thoughts running through my head. And I've got to tell you all of them. Now, most likely you just heard before this Wes Bergman, who is a challenge legend who's on this season of House of Villains. We did a quick 30-minute interview, so you'll probably hear that at the beginning of the episode. If you're watching on YouTube, go listen to the audio as well, or go give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That really helps. So you'll probably hear that. So these are always supersized, but I like long form. I always have. I know that's annoying to some people, and I really appreciate the recappers that can do it in 30 or 45 minutes. That's not this guy. I have painted myself into a prison, a box. It's horrible. I can't do anything quick. There's so many jokes right there that I could have made. But yeah, this will probably be a long one. So buckle in. And then you got Real Housewives of Orange County coming from me the next day on Saturday. So enjoy your weekend. I can't wait to go into the reunion trailer as well. Salt Lake City has now started an after show, which you can find on Peacock. They also have it in podcast format. And we might go over a couple of the quotes from that after show because it's all the ladies talking after the fact about what we're watching these past couple of episodes. And I think it's a really good, it's really good additional material. And especially Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow's on another level, man. I've said many times, I sometimes don't agree with her moves, but she's also one of my favorite housewives. I mean, just the monologues that come out of this woman are so hysterically funny, and I don't even know if she's trying to be funny. I just think it comes out of her. Now, this episode, we have one of the mortal sins that you can do when you're in a housewife show is that the husbands got involved. Is that we have Whitney Rose's husband, Justin, and Lisa Barlow's husband, John. They kind of get into it. And it was weird because there are two sides of this. And I see, especially with this kind of pushing thing and cursing around the wife, I understand elements of both sides, but overall it's just weird. And it shows why sometimes men in these shows, it's not good to focus on them because we as men, we're dumb. First, I think that's a given. I don't think I have to say that. But secondly, we don't know how to deal with our emotions. And, like we have this awkward scene in this episode between John and Justin over a plate of smashed taters where they're trying to express how they're feeling. And they're like, I heard the smashed taters are really good. Have you tried these smashed taters? Like they don't know. It just reminds that song, like sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much. Like it is so. It's all in what is not being said, because you can just tell they're both feeling like they're both caring men to a degree, but they're. I mean, there's so much. And it's just so funny because men sometimes can't give you a Lisa Barlow monologue. They can express it of like, I'm going to put my best cybersecurity expert on this. Are you kidding me? We're going to go the distance. We're doing it. Like men can't express themselves like that. So it's really awkward. And I don't love it on Housewives shows. I can take it in these little interspersed things, but I don't want to see a John Justin storyline for the rest of the season. I want to eat the smashed taters, make each other like hug each other and then just get on with it, because I do not like, I don't need that. We've got enough amazing women to focus on this season without that. And I will tell you, now that we're back in Salt Lake City, it makes me miss Milwaukee. I'm like, I long for the days of Milwaukee, because I feel the dark streets of Salt Lake City, there is an evil force, an evil presence and listen, I don't even feel this with Beverly Hills or New York. New York, man, we got to talk about New York at a certain point. Maybe I'll talk on the pop culture roundup on Monday. I was trying to get through this week's episode, and that's when I took a nap today. And I don't even mean that as a slam on the show. And I'm not saying it's like visual melatonin, but I passed out. Like Pavitt was like talking to Jessel about his Meta glasses hooked up to AI. And I was like, and it's not that I like all of those ladies as well, but it's different when you see the Salt Lake cast step up. You're like, this is a cast. Woo, this is a cast. Or OC. It's different because OC, a little more real, if you can say that. I mean, it's bizarre still, but a little more real. But to me, those are like, bam, everywhere you look, there's something. Like everywhere you look, there is something fascinating. And also the fulcrum of the actual storyline and plot, it's interesting. There's a storyline there. And I don't think Roni has really figured that out yet. Even Potomac is doing way better than Roni. I was looking at the ratings, which I always do. And OC right now is number one in the ratings. If you with all the Housewives airing right now, number two is Potomac, just a little bit lower than OC. And then you got like a huge dip, and there's like Salt Lake, and then Roni as the fourth most popular Housewives show on TV right now. And I think, I don't know, that makes complete sense to me. The only thing that doesn't make sense is that I think more people should be watching Salt Lake City, period. I really just, and I always, this is my old man coming out, is that I get concerned. I worry about people. Why are we not watching this show in droves? Because I feel like it's giving us everything that we could possibly want. I'm really curious what Bravo's going to do with their schedule though, because of like, are they going to bring back Dubai, and are they going to bring back Roni if it continues to be at this level? Like those are, and I know they've invested a lot of money. So I think part of me expects there to be a third season out of both. But if you look at like Summer House Martha's Vineyards numbers, which they put on pause, Roni is, Roni and Dubai, especially, it was like on that same ratings level. So if you went by that, I would almost say like, well, you might be putting those shows on pause as well. But I do think that they've invested way more money, especially in Dubai, that they might just do another season to add more content to be able to try to make money on some sort of back end way. Yeah, so that's ratings talk over It's So Bad It's Good. Also, the only job security I realize that anyone has, like, it's not in podcasting, it's not what you do, it's not what the only job security is if you are a cybersecurity expert in Salt Lake City. It's the only, it seems like these ladies, if you're a cybersecurity expert, if you're listening right now, move to Salt Lake City. You are needed. You are wanted. You will be probably paid well. All of these ladies, even Meredith Marks in the after show was like, well, I have a cybersecurity expert as well. I mean, it seems like the in vogue thing to have in Salt Lake City is a cybersecurity expert. The only thing that I get really confused about is these cybersecurity experts don't seem to be ever able to solve a damn thing. And if they had these cybersecurity experts, how did Reality Von Tease happen in the first place? Like, who are these cybersecurity experts just saying like, yes, Miss Barlow, I'm completely on it, and then just go back to watching TV? Are they not doing anything and just collecting a paycheck? Because it feels like nothing ever happens with these cybersecurity quote unquote experts. And Lisa, what is she, 6-7 lawyers? I mean, I worry about the amount of money that she's having to put out. I mean, that's probably why she's eating fast food. It's just less expensive when you have that kind of overhead. We also meet Lisa Barlow's sister in this episode, and she pretty much talks very similarly to Lisa Barlow, looks very similar. And I just thought, I was like, this is why I felt like I was on acid. I was like just watching two Lisa Barlows bounce back and forth. Oh gosh. But anyways, I am very happy with Salt Lake City. So this episode is episode 7. It's called The Husbands, but it's spelled Huzzbands. Let's not talk about the husbands. And the description that Peacock gives us says, Angie's anniversary party leaves the group at odds. Justin and John work to resolve their issues. Justin and the men of Salt Lake even got a little sentence in the description. And where we pick up, right from last week's is that Angie K had her 25th wedding anniversary, like Mob Wives Mafia themed 25th anniversary party, playing on the fact that, she's in the Greek Mafia. Do you think that the actual Greek Mafia is like, we've had enough already? Like, please. Like, listen, it's we're already in the mafia. We don't need to be teased about being it. Like, we don't need the mafia is offended. The mafia is like, I don't need this kind of representation. It's offensive. And no. And also, it's just like the cybersecurity expert. If Angie K truly was in the Greek Mafia at this point, some of this shit would have been shut down already. Like, we would not be seeing anything that we're seeing. I don't believe the cybersecurity expert is real. And I don't believe there's any kind of mob ties with Angie K. Because if there were, I don't think we would have a full Mob Wives party. But as I'm saying that out loud, I will say Housewives are sometimes a little bit left of center and sometimes a little dim-witted where they get cocky and they're like, I actually am in the mob and I will throw a Mob Wives party. I'm not saying that's Angie K, but listen, we had Jen Shaw, for the love of God. Jen Shaw, her sentence keeps getting reduced down, where some people are saying she's going to be out at the end of 2025, potentially. And then it could be this battle royale where they bring Jen Shaw back to the show. Then if you're going to bring Jen Shaw back to the show, you got to bring Monica back to the show. We could have a battle royale. The only person, you guys, and I've been saying this, and I feel so like I appreciate what she's represented, but I feel like Heather Gay is the one that I think it's ever since the last episode of the season finale last year, I just don't buy. And I feel like she's actually a genuine troublemaker. Like, all of these people are like talking about like online things and Alibaba. But I think Heather Gay, there's a real shit stirrer there. And there's this element, and Angie K drops it in this episode, talking about that Heather always wanted to sit at the cool kids table. And I think there's a lot of truth to that sentiment. And I think it's probably very hard for Heather all of a sudden being considered as the cool one and to kind of try to sit in that throne, like heavy is the crown, right? Sit in that throne. And I don't think she knows how to do that very well. So she still seeks approval from people that she shouldn't really need approval from at this point. But at the same time, I think she's kind of feeling herself a little bit more. And I think those two sentiments are at complete odds with each other and really make her seem weirdly unbalanced than she has in previous seasons. And people like Mary and people like Bronwyn, it's really interesting because I think they clock her. They clock her and they kind of see how she moves. Just because somebody is the sane one in the group doesn't mean that they don't make housewives moves. And I think Heather, being a fan of these franchises from the very beginning, way before when she was even on this show, I think she sees this. Whitney, too. Whitney's another one. And this is one of the first episodes where I was like, man, Whitney, you're not losing me at all. But it is starting to get Whitney always has something up her sleeve. There's always an accusation she's going to throw out. There's always something. And Whitney's another fan of these franchises from the very beginning. So those are things that I keep in mind because I'm insane. I can't just let the show wash over me. I have to take into their whole history, all of the accounts of all of this. And I got to tell you, we saw Bronwyn's house and yeah, there was some dog poopy in there. Okay. Yeah. And most people would say that's gross. But what I saw sparkly poops. That poop was glowing. That was fancy dog poopy. I saw a little flecks of gold in that dog. I thought, to me, I thought it was classy. I thought it was classy dog poopy, and I was not offended, and I will not take Heather Gay's jokes about it. That to me is fine. Well, remember Real Housewives of Dallas when was it Cameron sold the stuff that would make your dog's poop glittery? Am I remembering that correctly? I was like, this is glitter poop. This is fancy rich person glitter poop. We will not be shamed for dog poopy in a house. It's not great, but I mean, and also just think about that shooting that and then Bronwyn forgetting to like just go around and do a once over on the rooms to make sure that, but she has like, what does she have? Like a pack of 12 dogs there? Accidents are going to happen. And also, how do we know that's not Heather Gay's poop? Have we even asked the question? How do we know Heather Gay didn't do that or Heather Gay didn't bring that in the house to make Bronwyn look a little hinky? By the way, Heather Dubrow said hinky in last week's episode of Real Housewives of Orange County, and I haven't been able to stop saying it. All week long, I'm like, something's hinky here. Little hinky. Not feeling good about this. It's very hinky, I will tell you that. Oh, I forgot to say this at the beginning. If there are, I try to put this warning out in the recaps. If there are any housewives listening, please do not listen. You are bound to be offended at some point. I am not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to, say the things that I see and express how I feel about these shows. And sometimes I'm wrong. More often than not, I'm right. But these are just my opinions. We all have different opinions. So if you're a housewife, do not listen. But if it's one of you guys, if it's one of us normies, please listen or watch and we'll get through this together. Also, please give me permission to be as silly as possible on this. I need to laugh and I'm going to be hopefully extra silly and probably say some things that might offend somebody, but just try to take it in as with a good of sense of humor as you possibly can. So let's get in. Okay. Sorry. I keep having thoughts. Thoughts keep happening in my brain. Where is Meredith Marks? Meredith Marks, except for the very beginning, she is not really in this episode. Did something happen mid-season where she's like, I gotta take a couple weeks off. I'm trying to get new bath bomb products out, and I'm just overloaded right now. The Meredith Marks erasure is weird this season. Like she's in it, but not to the degree that you would expect. And she was on Watch What Happens Live last night, which I was like, why is she even on when it wasn't like an episode featuring Meredith Marks with a big moment? We don't have Seth Marks. We have Seth Marks next week because they all go on like a group vacation with the husbands. I'm Seth. I'm going to be in Palm Springs on a big vacation with Meredith. If you hear these walls knocking, don't bother knocking. Hey-oh, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. All right. We start off as we always do with scenes from previous week's episodes of the show thus far. So we get previously on the Real Housewives of Orange County, and we have like the Greek mafia like music, and we're at Angie K's house, and she's like, "Look at these mobsters!" greeting all of her guests. Mary Cosby is there, Bronwyn is there in kind of a blue Big Bird outfit, Lisa, everybody, and Angie says, "This thing I have with my friends is not always copacetic." Not always copacetic. And we have that scene where Bronwyn came up to Angie K and said, what is this? Do you want this whole thing about, do you want me to say something about Lisa's parenting to Heather? And then Heather saying, why are you getting in my relationship with Angie? Bronwyn, why are you getting in my relationship with Angie? And Bronwyn going, you think you're the head bitch in charge and you can manage everyone's relationships. And Heather going, you trust her feedback over our history and our friendship, Angie K? I cannot help you. This is Heather just like not really. Heather vacillates between like really like, oh my God, I'm so sweet and nice. And I'm not going to put up with this. This is like, you know, that weird vacillation going from one extreme to the other. But that's what I'm saying. Bronwyn clocks Heather. Bronwyn said, you think you're the HBIC? Come on. Like your shit stinks just like the rest, just like my dog poopy does, you know? And Angie going, what are you doing, Heather? And then that scene from Milwaukee where Heather was also in telling Whitney of like, people are talking about your company Prism. Basically that you're like white labeling jewelry from China. Come on, just say it. Alibaba. And Whitney going, that is fucked up. And then last week, Whitney had a scene with Meredith going, I reached out to someone and verbally confirmed that it's Lisa Barlow. And then in last week's episode of Angie K, Whitney is fighting with Lisa going, you know, I am being told that you planted it. And Lisa going, I didn't do it to you. She like explodes out of no, I didn't do it to you. Her like just screams. And Lisa Barlow's husband is like noticing this. And Whitney's husband, Justin's like noticing what's going on. And Lisa going, shut the fuck up about that. Shut the fuck up about that. And that's where we pick up. I will still, nobody has explained it to me still to this day. We are using an old title card photo where Angie is in the middle and they've shot all new title cards. I see them in the promo materials all the time. And I don't know why they're using the old one. I love that Angie K is in the middle, but like, this is like Heather Gay is like a completely different body type at this point in this old, please explain this to me, somebody. Okay, so we pick back up right, you know, at Angie K's tense music, mean streets of Salt Lake City. And Lisa is on her phone with her, you know, her cybersecurity expert going, Whitney's accusing me of doing something I did not do. So I want you to get the police involved. And I want you to prove her wrong because she's lying right now. And I'm livid. I'm livid, Sean. And this is Sean, cybersecurity expert. And Whitney goes, I'm not lying. And Meredith is right next to Whitney, you know, totally taking in this whole scene. And Lisa goes, you know what, Whitney? Every time I think we're friends, you fuck it up. And then Lisa goes up to her husband and Whitney's husband, Justin, and going, how do you deal with the lies and sift through this shit, Justin? And Justin's like, she's not a liar. She's not a liar. Don't call my wife a liar. And Lisa's like, she is a liar. So this was Lisa's bad. You don't go right up to the husband and say, your wife's a fucking liar. I mean, that's like poking the Justin Bear. I mean, that, and John, you can, I have it freeze frame. John's like staring directly at the camera in this moment of like, oh shit, we're on camera. And Justin is so even, no, sorry. John Barlow is so even keeled, Lisa's husband. And I think probably that's why their relationship works. He's seems like such a peaceful, quiet dude. So, and Lisa seems the opposite of that. And I don't mean that's a bad thing, but it's just so polar opposite. So if you go up and you say, your wife's a liar, how do you even deal with this? It's crazy. Alibaba. And Justin's like, don't call my wife a liar. Don't call my wife. And Lisa goes, she's a liar, Justin. She's a liar, liar, pants on fire. And Justin's like, she's not a fucking liar, as Lisa walks off. And Lisa just keeps going, liar, she's a liar, she's a liar. And Justin's now pissed. And Whitney goes over there. And John puts his hand up to Justin's kind of chest, like kind of touching of like, whoa, 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 you know, like, whoa, you know, oh, I can feel your heartbeat, Justin. No, he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. And Justin's like, get your fucking hand off. Get your fucking hand off me. Get your fucking hand off me, bro. And then we hear like, stop, 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 stop. Whitney's like, stop, stop, stop. And Justin's like, don't put your hand on my chest. Hold me. No, he's like, don't put your hand on my chest. And John's like, don't say those don't say the like, he's like, don't say the effing word to my wife. Like, that's it, really. Like, you use the F word, you use the F bomb. He's like, don't say the fucking word to my wife. Don't say that word to my wife. And Justin's like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, well, roll the tape. You did say that, Justin, in the heat of anger. And all of a sudden, a producer jumps in. Producer's like, oh, got to break the fourth wall. And John's like, Justin, yeah, you did. And Justin's like, what did I say? And John said, you did. You said she's not. You did. You said she's not a fucking liar. And Lisa now is turned away from this conversation with kind of like a smile on her face. I want to remind people this is the 25th wedding anniversary party with the theme of mob wives. So Whitney goes, John, can you walk away, please? Please? In a talking head, Whitney goes, what Lisa just did by charging at my husband is wildly inappropriate because she is trying to incite the husbands into this drama now. And what does she expect to happen? This is a January 6th level event. She's inciting a riot, folks. This is what Lisa Barlow is. You have awoken the Justin bomb. Like Justin, like, you have awoke. You will not call Whitney. Alibaba. So in the scene, Whitney's like, you, my friend, this is your fucking problem. And Lisa's like, we're not friends, Whitney. My friends don't lie about me. And Angie K goes, we're going to ask Mary. We're going to ask Mary. We've got Mary. We're doing a blessing. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, we stop everything. We're like, let's kick it on over to the Lord. What is, God's upstairs, like eating his popcorn going, oh my God, Angie K, we don't need a prayer to me right at this moment. Please, are you kidding me? And Angie's like, yes, Mary Cosby will say a prayer for my union. Not our union, my union. And Meredith comes up to Lisa. She's like, Lisa? And Lisa's like, she's a liar. Good luck with that. She's a liar. Good luck with that. In a talking head, Lisa goes, this is slander. You're accusing me vehemently, stating that I did something that I know I did not do. Somebody take her temperature because she's clearly sick. That's a read from Lisa Barlow. Lisa tells her husband, stay away from him. Stay away from Justin. And Angie's like, hi, everyone. Hey. And Whitney is going, I just told her I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. And she keeps calling her attorney. Poor John Barlow is just like counting money in his head of like, oh, there's $1,000 right there in phone calls. Oh my God. He's like getting a Tupperware jar just to put like charcuterie in for the ride home. He's like, we're going to need this later. And Lisa goes, I didn't call my attorney. I called my investigator and he's going to investigate. Yeah. Didn't call the attorney, Whitney. It was the investigator. There's a difference. Doy. Of course there's multiple I'm sorry. You got to love Housewives. And I know this is probably a very real moment for them, but the ridiculousness. I called my investigator. Tin roof rusted. I'm going the distance. I'm going for speed. I'm all alone in a time of need. Yeah, she called her investigator. So Whitney was wrong. It's not her attorney. Her attorney will be the next call. Also, I love that she told the security investigator to get the Salt Lake City police and the Los Angeles police involved. Like, don't do that to the LAPD. We're still working on the Menendez, brother. We don't have time to look into this. Like, the LAPD is like, oh shit, Barlow. We got a Barlow situation again. Aren't they in Utah? Yeah, no, it's crossing state lines. It's wild. So Lisa is still, even though Angie has called for a blessing from Mary, going, you're lying about me. You're lying about me. I'm not lying about you, Lisa Barlow. And Angie goes, I need you all to take a deep breath. And she's like snapping her face. I need you all to take a deep breath. My daughter's here. Of course, we have the children here. And we see a shot of Electra. Electra was one of the girls that Mary Cosby kind of talked to, of like, when she like got done like arguing with somebody, she sat down to these two girls that looked really just like very silent and potentially scared. And we realized that Electra is one of these girls. Remember when Mary sat down last week and she was like, women, am I right? So we see Elektra being, I mean, at this point, let's send the kids away. I mean, it's bad enough that Justin Osmond, Jason, what's the Osmond guy's name? God, I'm forgetting things. It's Justin, right? I listened to his album this week, which I told you about in the recap. That's right. Mr. Osmond has his own album from 2008 out. Oh, that's why the after show is so good, you guys, because Lisa gives her theory on Mr. Osmond and why he's a little bit of a player with the ladies because of his last relationship. Where is I have it screenshotted. I am a prepared podcaster. I'm gonna find this. I'll be Jared, Jared Osmond. Yeah, Jared's there. Let's send Jared away and the kids away, and then let's pick up cameras again. So Lisa keeps talking like, I don't want that or anything around it. I did not do it. And Angie's like, okay, fingers down, ladies. I don't need chaos to ensue in my home. It's already ensued. We are full chaos ensuing right now. In the talking head, Angie goes, I don't need chaos to ensue in my home. And Lisa, again, back to her going, I did not do it. I'm going to keep my fingers going. She literally says, I'm not putting my fingers down. I'm going to keep my fingers going right now. And Angie K goes, if I had rented in an event center, you guys go at it, pull hair, take each other out. But this is my house. So we're not going to do that there. We're not going to do that here. But this is another reason why we know Angie K isn't in the Greek mafia, because if there was, she would have just been like, Giuseppe, get in here. And just physically, they would have just removed Lisa Barlow and Whitney. And it would have been capiche, sleep with the fishes time. But Angie trying to put the best face back on, going, I'm going to ask everyone to be quiet for a minute. And we see that Mary Cosby is now next to her. Lisa Barlow is in front of John, and John's arms are wrapped around her. And Angie says, Mary's going to give us a blessing. We probably should have done this hours ago. And Mary goes, yeah, we should have. Yeah. Mary goes, it is so warm in here. Or is it just me? It is a little toasty. It's a little toasty in here. Mary goes, okay, if I can ask everybody to join hands with someone you love. Lisa, will you please grab Whitney's hand, please? Mary, he goes with somebody you love. And then Mary goes, Lisa, can you please grab Whitney's hand? Will you hold Whitney's hand for the blessing? And Mary's like, Whitney, will you please hold Lisa's hand? And Lisa's like, I'm good. And Mary goes, it's very important. I mean, it's for the Lord. It's very important. And then Lisa walking over to Whitney to hold her hand goes, don't lie about me. And now we see John Barlow's on the phone. I don't know if John's if he's on with security or the LAPD, but Lisa walks over and goes, don't lie about me. And when he goes, then don't call me a liar. And Lisa goes, well, then don't tell lies about me. And then they do hold hands. So this is also a classic Housewives trope where they're able to put insanity aside to continue the scene. And I love that. I think it's hysterical because normally you'd be out the door, right? So Mary starts and goes, okay, Heavenly Father, big guy, we want to thank you right now. Where we ask you to bless Angie, bless Elektra, and bless Sean, and bless all the ones under the sound of my voice. We want to feel your spirit, and we pray in the name of Jesus. Thank you. We're going to send some collection baskets around if you want to put in anything that you haven't. No, she doesn't. She says, thank you. And then somebody's like, amen, amen. And Lisa's like, amen. And Angie hugs Lisa. Angie hugs Mary, beautiful, good. You knocked that blessing out of the park. And then we hear Lisa continue going, I did nothing to you through DMs, through fake accounts, Whitney. None of that is from me. So just remember that. I wouldn't do that to you. I could hate you, and I wouldn't do that to you. And I don't hate you. And Justin's there, and he's like, well, you're calling her a liar. You're calling my wife, you're calling my lady a liar. And Lisa's like, because she's lying about it. And when he's like, ask me. And just like, she's not lying. And at this point, this is where John Barlow is kind of in the wrong. He comes up seeing this and kind of grabs Justin's shoulder and pushes him aside to the left. And I was even a little shocked. And Lisa's like, John. John. And Lisa kind of pulls John away. And this was wild to see from this, very soft-spoken man. And so these men are both in the wrong. I think Lisa did incite this a little bit. And I think Lisa, when she gets fired up so quickly, she causes chaos. And I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I think it's very genuine to her. But she started this, and then Justin did the cursing, that whole thing. And then, John put his hand on Justin's chest, and now John physically put his arm on the shoulder to kind of push Justin away. And I was even shocked by this, right? And Justin, I think he's talking to production. He says, "Get him the fuck away from me. I'm going to pound his ass. I fucking ride Harleys, bro. I'm going to pound his ass. This guy will never have Wendy's again when I'm done with him." And John goes, "You don't need to talk to Lisa." And when he's like, "Lisa and I are fine. We can handle ourselves. We can." Heather is talking to Meredith going, "This feels big, though." This feels big, though. In this shot, we see Maylee, the other new kind of friend of. Poor Maylee. I don't know if she has a chance this season. In a talking head, Heather goes, "I have never seen the husbands fight before. Even when we are each at each other's throat, they get along. So this scares me. It feels unrecoverable." Nothing is unrecoverable. That is not the attitude any of us can have. Anyways, Whitney's like, "Angie, Sean, thank you for having us on a beautiful night. And this was great." And she put it on her coats. We see that Lisa's like crying next to Meredith and like dabbing her eyes with tears. So Lisa's like, "Every time I feel like we take 2 steps forward," she's like, goes back to this bullshit. And then for her to accuse me of that bullshit, I bought her first fucking piece of jewelry. She's talking to Bronwyn, Heather, Meredith, and they're all kind of like, okay. And then we see Sean and Angie K, and Angie's like, "Sean, that was awkward." And he's like, mm-hmm. Lisa goes, "I do not like my character questioned. I didn't fucking do anything to her, and I put up with enough. I am not forgiving for this. We are done. I'm taking this all the way. I'm going the distance." Heather says, "Let's go. This is crazy." So everybody's now like, petering out. It's sad. We didn't really get an end with the Jared Osman, Brittany Bateman scene. Like they talked, but we didn't see how that whole thing ended because remember, she brought another dude to the party because she immediately went back on the apps when her and Jared Osman broke up for the 18th time, right? So we see the full moon setting on the main streets of Salt Lake City, the choral music, and then it's the next morning. We see the snow-capped mountains, tense music, dun 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 dun. And we're at Lisa Barlow's place, and John comes in with groceries and one of those grocery store roasted chicken things, and he's like, "I cooked us a chicken. Oh my gosh, I love that chicken, huh?" And John's like, "Are you good with salads?" Lisa's like, "Get the fuck out of here. This body only consumes taco B." Lisa's like, "No, that sounds really good, John. Salads and chicken." And John's like, "What have you been doing?" "Not much. I've had a quiet day." And he's like, "You've had a quiet day?" And Lisa's like, "I needed it after last night, Mr. Boxer. Mr. Boxer, sexy John Barlow boxer, ready to stand up for his lady." And just last week, remember when their son said, "You guys got a box." And then John wanted to go into the octagon with Justin. John goes, no, I'm not Mr. Boxer." And Lisa's like, "You're taking up some new sports." And he's like, "No, I'm going to stand up for my mouthy wife." Whoa, hey-o. But he says it so like kind of quiet. I'm going to stand up for my mouthy wife. Sorry. And Lisa goes, "Oh, zoinks. Oh, now I'm mouthy. Oh, you better get ready to fight again." And John's like, just now you're mouthy?" But they're laughing. It's kind of cute. And it seems like they're used to potential situations like this. It's cute. So we pull away from that scene and we go directly over to Justin and Whitney's house, their new house. And Justin is pouring something down the drain. And I was like, oh, wow, he's saying goodbye to alcohol for good after last night's party. And it's not that. He's throwing away down the drain all of Lisa Barlow's alcoholic products like Vita Tequila and I guess Blue Jays. I didn't even know Lisa had I didn't know she had a beer brand called Blue Jays, but Lisa's like, you're throwing out all the Blue Jays? And he's like, yeah, if they're not going to support us, why would we support them? Do you want to like give it to someone maybe? And he goes, yeah, I'm going to give it to this drain. And she's just staring. And I think she has the same thought I do. It's like, we're not getting back at like, literally, that's free booze. Justin, let me just say, there are families out there that don't have any tequila, that have no tequila, that sees something like this and just says how wasteful. There are families that could use this tequila that are just watching this going, wow, how sad. And when he's like, are you going to dump out the Vida tequila too? He's like, oh, yeah. Oh, that is a gift. Guess we don't accept gifts anymore from Barlow's. You're going to dump a brand new bottle as he's dumping the bottle. And even Whitney's just like, what the fuck? And he goes, all right, I dumped it. I feel better. How do you feel? And she's just smiling. I don't feel good. Anyways, back to Lisa. Lisa's like, I was so surprised at Justin's reaction last night. Oh my God. And John's like, he went from a smile to, I'm going to kill you face, within a blink. And that's when my alarms, I know. I was like, whoa. And he's like, my protector alarm went off, or whatever you want to call it, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're in the wrong, John. In a talking head, she says, I thought Justin's reaction to me was super aggressive. Like if Whitney walked over to John and just said, your fucking wife did this to me, John would be like, okay, Whitney, whatever. Okay, Whitney. John would be like, I've heard this before. Like he wouldn't get aggressive in tone towards her, right? Like he's never going to do that. John says he was pissed, Lisa. Then back over to Justin and Whitney. Justin's like, the impact of John, like I had a rage that I haven't had in a long time. And I tried to stay calm. And I know you were like freaking out. So, babe, I was freaking out because I've never seen you do that before. Well, when have you seen somebody come into my space like that? Never. All you said is don't call my wife a liar. And he goes, a fucking liar. That's what a fucking liar. Man, they're all getting all hot and bothered saying the F-bomb. Somebody, it's fucking liar. Take me now. Back to Lisa. He goes, how do you feel about Justin right now? Like, do you want to talk to him? And John's like, if it comes down to it, I like Justin. Like, I'm not going to let this get in the way of us being friends. I think he's a cool dude. And now we have to figure out a way to move forward. I love this is so man, like women can like we can make a whole scene out of like a fight between these women, but men are like, I think he's still a really cool dude. I would love to have some smashed taters with him. So I guess we got to figure it out. Back to Justin. Justin's like, well, that's the first time that John and I have ever had a situation. Like even the first time that I felt uncomfortable around John. I think she wanted a fight to distract her from what I had just called her out for. Lisa, back to her going, she's defaming my character. She's like using a lie to attack me. So I'm like, you have no proof because I didn't do it. If I wanted to get something out there, this is a talking head. She goes, if I wanted to get something out there, I would go to the Post, New York Times, maybe go on Good Morning America. But like nobody gives a shit about your jewelry anyway, Whitney. You're hoping that this gets you 100,000 in sales when it airs. Good luck. And she drinks her Fresca out of a straw. Iconic talking head from Lisa Barlow. And I don't know. I mean, is there an element of truth to that? I mean, all of these housewives are trying to sell their wares, right? It's like a swap meet on a Sunday with these shows. But I also like the thought of Lisa Barlow going on Good Morning America to get something out there. Like, we have Lisa Barlow from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. How's it going, Lisa? I am here to talk about something that Whitney is saying about me. And then Lisa continues in the talking head doing the Whitney imitation. We feel so bad for Whitney. We're going to buy her Healy necklaces. She tells her husband she's going to have to beg me to ever even look at her again as she's slurping her big gulp. Oh, iconic. Chef's kiss. So we are now at Beauty Lab and Laser. Heather's, I think they have 2 locations now. Someday this will get a spinoff, Beauty Lab and Laser, I bet. It'll be like the wellness version of Vanderpump Rules. And Brittany is in there bringing Heather matcha and saying, I'm so glad you're on break, Heather. You're on holiday. And Heather's like, the boss let me take a 15-minuter. Get it? I own it. And Brittany's like, she's so nice. I hear the boss is amazing. Okay, well, Heather, I am dying. I mean, what in the world? And Heather's like, how did that happen? Like, did you see the fight happen? And Brittany's like, no. Oh, is that what you're talking about? I want to talk about Jared. Oh, I was talking about Jared showing up. And Heather goes, I mean, that too. I mean, you know, Heather goes, well, let's take it a step at a time. There were so many traumas. First of all, Aaron, and that's the other guy that Brittany was seeing that she brought to the party. And Brittany's like, oh, I just started sweating. Honestly. I mean, I'm misting right now. And Heather's like, I have questions. Heather goes, Jared shows up at the party. His girlfriend's there with another date. And Brittany's just shaking her head like she's not the person. And she's like, can you even believe that? And Heather's like, you look like a war widow. Because remember, Brittany had that big reaction of like, oh, oh, oh. And then we have this old timey film thing that they kind of do with the footage from the event where they shows her, you know, with the both hands over the face, Brittany, like, oh my God. And we see Jared hugging Whitney and Brittany crying to Lisa going, this is so messed up. And Lisa's like, you're with Aaron. You can't do this. And Brittany going, what in the world? Heather goes, we could see your pain. I was like, oh my gosh. And Brittany's like, it's because I love him. And Heather's like, I know, he's an Osmond. And Brittany's like, and I am so confused because he's so good to me on the one hand, and so not all in on the other hand. There are two hands. They're really, really so good to me, and yet so not good to me at the same time. And we flash back to them talking at the party, her and Jared. And she's like, Jared, my heart's with you. And you know that. He's like, well, and she's like, Aaron's a great guy. And I don't want to hurt him at all. And Jared's like, no, he seems like a great guy. Seems like a great guy. You should probably go hang out with him. And Brittany going, that's not what I wanted you to say. Back in this scene, Heather goes, what happened to I'm going to repair my relationship with my daughters and I'm going to be single? And she's like, that's still on the table. No, all of that stuff. Yeah. No, I am single. No. Heather goes, I'm going to give it to you straight. And she's like, all right, give it to me. Heather goes, I love you. I don't want you to look crazy. Okay, well, that ship has sailed. And she goes, but you're talking crazy. And Brittany goes, and Heather goes, I don't even know how to talk to you about it because we've had the same combo over and over. And we flash back to the pickleball scene where she tells Heather, I have totally sacrificed my kids for a man. I should probably be single for a while. Oh man, can you imagine her kids watching this one day? And then another scene where she's, Brittany's being asked, are you in love with him? And Brittany going, yeah, I am in love with him. And everybody's like, what? In this scene, Brittany goes, I feel like that's so condescending, Heather. I mean, that's hurtful. And Heather goes, I understand that might be hurtful. I'm trying to give it to you straight. And she goes, have you ever loved someone and then been stuck? Like found yourself right back just because you loved? And Heather goes, yeah, I've had toxic relationships. Yeah. She has. And Brittany goes, and what did you do? And Heather goes, fucked up my entire life. And we're like, oh my God, is she talking about her marriage? And there's sad music playing as Brittany's wiping away her tears. But obviously she's probably talking about Jen Shah, right? And Brittany goes, it's just hard. I mean, I'm just still searching for the love I've never gotten. Okay, well, we came to a conclusion. And she says, and I feel so alone. Except for all of the men that I'm currently potentially dating right now. Brittany goes, with my kids being gone and my mom passing away, who was my best friend. And Heather is tearing up too. And she's like, no, I get it. And she goes, I just feel alone, Heather. I am lonely, she says in a talking head. It's hard without my girls. It's hard to be a mom without being able to be a mom. But I don't feel like it's an either or. I can still be the mom that I'm trying to be and date and find some happiness of my own. Heather tells her, says, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to feel like you can't share your crazy side with me. And Brittany's like, I am crazy. Like, we got it. Heather goes, if you're crazy, you're in a very good group. And Brittany's like, I hope so. No, you're good, Brittany. You fit right in. I think we got a second season immediately, Brittany. But that is wild. And like, in all seriousness, take away from the silliness. Yeah, man, divorcing somebody, losing your mom, these are all very real things. Also having kids on top of that and having, trying to have this love life and feeling these feelings that you're feeling for somebody else. And then also trying to be a mother. I can only imagine how hard that is. So I'm sure we're seeing the byproduct of all of that. And now we are at a place called Cafe Galleria in beautiful Salt Lake City. And it's Bronwyn, her husband, who invented the Palm Pilot. They are there, and she's like, "I'm starving. I haven't eaten." He's like, "Me either. Me either." Yep. So they get a table for two outside in this like bubble with like heat lamps in it, and it looks cute. I don't know. It's like a weird bubble. So they sit in here, and the waiter's like, "I'll grab you guys some water." And he's like, "Can I get an iced tea too, please?" And she orders the Kodo, which I think is some kind of Hawaiian pizza, and he orders, "I'm going to have the salmon. I'm trying to watch my cholesterol." So they do their orders, and now we get to the conversation. And Bronwyn's like, how was your trip? Did you get everything done?" He's like, "Mm-hmm, yep. Everybody was asking about you, where you were." And he's like, "Well, they all know I work in New York, so..." In a talking head, she goes, "Todd really travels 3 to 4 days a week, which provides an opportunity for my favorite thing, which is to do an airport pickup in a costume." Guys, I got to tell you, I was not prepared. Like, I thought we were going to get that trope of like a sexy, like lingerie pickup from an airport. I truly was not prepared for what we were about to see. And I should have known, but I wasn't prepared. And we all of a sudden, hear playful music, and we see Bronwyn at like the baggage claim at an airport, and she is in what looks like a shark inflatable costume. We see a shark just walking, a big inflatable shark, and then we see what it looks like a lizard or a turtle or something coming down an escalator. So they've filmed multiple airport pickups. I really hope this is just very real and they didn't film all this in one day, but these are multiple. We see her dancing in an inflatable mushroom outfit. And then we see her in a pig inflatable outfit, and she talks to two other people at baggage claim. She goes, "Oink, oink. Am I right? I said oink, oink." And then we see her dancing once again in the shark outfit as her husband is coming up, and he goes, "Don't ask," to a guy passing him. So we see all of these airport pickups, and her husband is just like shaking his head like, "Oh, I can't believe it." And then we see her in like a panda outfit, kind of like posed out on a bench, like blowing kisses, and like other passerbys are like, what in the holy hell?" Bronwyn says, "After 10 years together, it keeps it spicy. I mean, I think he'd prefer I picked him up at the airport in like something hot, maybe a different colored wig, but he gets a pig or a shark or a frog prince, you know?" And then we see pictures of like 4 more outfits, one like a reindeer, one, I mean, it is truly wild. He's like, there's one like a rainbow unicorn, a bunny, and she's like, "It's exactly what he wants." So Bronwyn can we have to just continue with the conversation of the scene, but all I'm thinking about are all of those inflatable costumes. I just think, where is she storing all of this stuff? It's like Tom Sandoval with all of his costumes. Like, does she have a storage facility for airport pickup costumes for Todd? Anyways, Bronwyn says, "Okay, so tell me your schedule for next week, because we've been talking about doing a 10-year anniversary party, but I was thinking first big thing we did together was going to the Indy race in Long Beach." "That was the race when I set you up to drive with Mario Andretti. And all you wanted to do was see that guy from The Bachelor, Ari Lundick." And Bronwyn's like, "It should have been your first clue. We were not from the same generation." I love Ty. He just seems like he's like the John Barlow type, just a mellow dude. He seems very secure in himself, very successful in life already. So it's one of those, I hope this helps their relationship and doesn't hurt their relationship in any way, because I watched Bronwyn on Watch What Happens Live last week, and he was in the front row as like, the husbands often are. And I hope he really gets a kick out of all of this. Which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show. They were selling the Watch What Happens carpet that they have on the floor where they put Andy's chair and the guest chairs, and they were selling it for a charity. And I was like, oh my God, I need that for my office. I can't, but obviously I'm not going to be able to put up any real money for that. And Todd was like, I think we got to buy it. We're going to buy it. So I think they bought the Watch What Happens live carpet. So just imagine the dogs are going to be able to poopy on that in the future. I hope they truly bought that. Anyways, Bronwyn's like, so I looked, and this race in thermal is a big deal. So it's 10 years almost to the day that you and I went to Long Beach. So I thought we'd take all the ladies, take their husbands. But the thing I'm a little on the fence about is this Brittany woman I was explaining to you. So when I first watched this, I was like, wait a sec, she's going to take everybody to Long Beach, California, smoke weed every day, to the LBC. First we get Milwaukee, and now we have Long Beach. How much did we spend on the Orange County Housewives to go to London? How are we getting Milwaukee and Long Beach trips for the Salt Lake ladies, and the other ladies get to go overseas? But I think she's actually not talking about Long Beach. I think it's Palm Springs area. But at first I was like, Long Beach? What did these housewives do to deserve this? No offense to LBC. I personally love it. It's just not, my parents, do you remember over COVID, they got an Airbnb 2 times in Long Beach because my mom wanted to see the water, and it was cheaper than Santa Monica and like all the fancy places. And it was great. It was like, rented a little place and got to see. My mom loved the ocean, truly loved water. I loved drinking it, loved seeing it, the whole thing. Anyways, Todd's like, well, Brittany, this is the woman that brought one date to the party and her boyfriend showed up. And Brom's like, oh, I forgot I did drop you that text that there were 2 dates. And we see the text message to her husband, and the text read, I look very mafia. Good night, my love. Wish you were here with me. Ooh, Brittany is here with a new guy. I said hi to John for you. No one here looks mafia. I wasted an entire outfit. And then Jared just showed up. Brittany has 2 dates. If they duel over her, I'll be so entertained. And then underneath it says, I manifested violence. Now listen, we could pick on her for the I manifested violence, but these are like the silly texts that you send your partner. Period. End of story. Like these are like the snarky texts you send to your loved ones, because you can truly be the insane, horrible people that you truly are with your partner, right? Like these are those texts. So I wouldn't read too much into any of these texts at all. But I loved that she was keeping Todd, who was just collecting Starbucks mugs in New York on a business trip, up to date. He's like, I can't believe I'm getting all these texts. What's going on over there? So Todd goes, I mean, I know there's polygamy in Utah, but that's... And Bronwyn goes, oh, not polygamy in Utah, Todd. They do a threesome in the car or what? Ooh, Todd, spicy. Bronwyn goes, only on the way home because they came separate. And he's like, well, you never know. You never know. So Bronwyn goes, so I am not going to be having her. And Todd's like, cool, I don't care. No skin off my back. No, I'm good. So you're not going to have Brittany because Jared Osmond and another man might show up randomly? I thought that was, I was a little shocked that Bronwyn wasn't going to have her for that reason. I understood more of the Heather Gay potentially not being invited, but the Brittany one kind of surprised me. I didn't necessarily understand that. And also because Brittany asked for a hug from Bronwyn while this whole situation was going down. Remember, Bronwyn was like, what do you need from me? Really? You want a hug? And Brittany's like, yeah. And they hugged. So I was confused. So Bronwyn asked her husband, do you think that's the right take I have on that? And he's like, well, you have to have room for 2 more guys, and she's like, right. The other thing I'm a little on the fence about is, I told you that Heather and I have never really clicked. So I'm on the fence. I think if I don't invite her, whatever is going on, I don't know how that fixes whatever is going on between us. It's just going to make it worse. And this dude is just so chill. He's like, it's a lot of work to get people to go with us for that fabulous trip. And the food gets delivered. This is when I realized she had like a Hawaiian pizza. And I was like, damn, I'm kind of hungry. But also Bronwyn keeping it real. Hawaiian pizza. He has to have a seared salmon, So they start eating. And Bronwyn goes, well, you and I haven't even talked about Gwen yet. Remember, Gwen's her daughter. It's been a roller coaster ride with her and this. Look, I know you were upset that this came up with Lisa. And we flash back to 2 weeks earlier where Lisa Barlow was having the conversation with Bronwyn talking about Gwen's grandparents that she's never met. And Lisa knows them. And she's like, I met with beep yesterday. I think there's regret and hurt there, Bronwyn. And then in this scene, Todd's like, well, they've never done anything nice for Gwendolyn. And then these people are kind of despicable human beings. I know. In a talking head, she says, Todd is very protective of Gwen and her feelings. He sees himself as a father figure to her. And we see pictures from the past when Gwen was a little girl with Todd and Bronwyn. And I think he sees this as a potential sandpit that feels too messy for him. So in the scene, she's like, I've been trying to figure out, Todd, how to communicate with them and how to get this set up. There were some weird messages that read really cold, and Gwen got crazy upset by it. She was very hurt. And we flash back to Gwen telling her mom, saying, I didn't like how they phrased certain things about, like, if I was ready or not, when I feel like I've always been ready. It was more on their side, that wasn't ready. Todd, it's exactly what I was worried about, which is a re-traumatization of what happened forever ago, right? And he's just eating his salmon. And she's like, and I have this realization as I'm going through this with Gwen, and I'm pretty angry still about everything that happened. And he goes, you deserve to be angry. You deserve to be angry. And she's like, I know, but I don't want to tell her to be angry. And she's tearing up as by the way, she's not eating pizza like pizza. She's cutting it with a knife and fork. She's like, I don't want to tell her to be angry just because I am. And Todd just kind of shrugs it off. It's like, if she's not angry, then I want her to get along with him, And then he goes, we've talked about this enough. Like lays it down. I'm done. I'm trying to enjoy my salmon here. We have talked about this enough. I need to see Todd in there with John and Justin, Justin, like, get your hands off me. But no, you listen here, Justin. I'll put my hands wherever I want to. I'll tell you that much. But he continues, he goes, you know how I feel about all of it. So I'm done. This guy's a man. Quiet. Walks with a big old bat. I don't even know what that means, but he walks with one. Very fancy, very big bat. I like that Todd guy. That's my problem with these housewife shows is that I usually love all of the women, but then the guys, I'm such a kind of non-guy myself, but I'll always be like, wow, what a cool guy. I'm always like, oh, what a cool guy. I like that guy. I like the cut of that guy's jib. Anyways, we go to the next scene after break. And Lisa Barlow comes out of her G-Wagon, and she looks like she's wearing what Missy Misdemeanor Elliott used to wear in her music videos, like those big, puffy, inflatable suits, like super duper fly. Who's got the keys to my Jeep? Like really a big old, I don't know. It's hysterical. So they go into this, I don't know, restaurant. How many restaurants are in fucking Salt Lake City? My God. And she's with her sister. It's like, I have a reservation for 2 under Barlow. Thank you. And so her and her sister, who looks a lot like Lisa, sit down. And I feel like I'm just seeing double. And I'm going to have to do the same voice for both of them. And so they're like, have you two been here before? And Lisa's sister's like, I have not. I'm visiting. And Lisa's like, this is her first time. She's in from Austin. In a talking head, she says, Denise is my younger sister. I'm number 3 of 6, and she's number 4 of 6. And we see pictures from them from the past. Didn't John Barlow date one of Lisa Barlow's sisters before she dated Lisa? Or am I complete? There's a chance that, like I told you, these feel like fever dreams. I could have just dreamt that. Lisa goes, I love all of my sisters. I just have a super soft spot for Denise. She was my only sibling in Utah, so we were so involved in each other's lives. And then Lisa orders her drink. Guess what it is? A spicy margarita with Vita. Do you want one too, Denise? And Denise is like, yes, please. So they get some Brussels sprouts, a little charcuterie plate. It wouldn't be a Housewives episode without a charcuterie plate, folks. Denise says, I miss it here. I miss the mountains. And Lisa goes, I miss New York. And Denise's like, well, of course. And then Lisa goes, hold on. It's John real quick. Hold on. And picks up her phone. Hey, I'm just sitting at lunch with Denise. Let me call you back on the way home. Okay. All right. Love you. Bye. And Denise is like, is he okay? And she's like, no, we're codependent. And then they just laugh. Oh. It's a problem. And Denise goes, I love that. Lisa goes, I called him what, like 6 times on the way here? And then Denise goes, possibly. And Lisa goes, possibly. It is an out of body experience as I'm listening to these two ladies talk in the same voice. Oh my gosh, you guys, too much is happening. I just had to write a bunch of questions for a guest that we got last minute for tomorrow. And it's Halloween, and I'm trying to finish this like third. I need to do. Remember that movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton? I need there to be like 10 versions of me, and also for there to be 48 hours in a day. Okay, anyways, we're back at we got double Lisas, 2 Lisa Barlows cheersing each other. And they get the charcutes, and she's like, this looks amazing. John and I compliment each other really well. We were at a party, and he just wanted to protect me, and he just wants to like make me feel supported and loved. And like, we have our morning routine where we drop Henry off at school, and then we go and get breakfast. What do you think do you think it is like a fast food breakfast, or do you think it's got to be a fast food breakfast? She's like, and then we go to the office and check in on everything. Oh my God, I need to see Lisa's office. Anyways, her sister Denise asks, how is Henry? And this is actually kind of sad. Lisa's like, I think it's hard with Jack gone. Henry's not as social as Jack. He's had all of Jack's friends to like hype him up, and they would include him in everything. And I feel like he lost like all of that. It's like hard as a mom seeing him like mitigate things kind of like alone. And she starts tearing up. And I got to tell you, in my menopause days, I start tearing up as well, because also he's a gamer. He's in there on his game. So hopefully he's got a bunch of friends he's gaming with that are like his age and not a bunch of like 60-year-old men. And also he's the heir to the Fresh Wolf empire. His Fresh Wolf facial products that he has with his brother. I don't know. I like both of her sons. And this actually did make me really sad. And she goes on to tell this story. She's like, what was really hard around his birthday party, he sent out like a last minute invite to kids, and they went to another kid's party instead of his. Lisa, you should have invited all of us. We would have shown up in droves, and we would have we would have lifted him over our heads like a champion. And Denise gasps at this information. And she's like, I know, it's going to make me cry. And Lisa's like, he was so embarrassed. He's like, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to go. And like, when we were driving there, I was like in full on panic mode. And I have like this consummate guilt of like, did I let him down? And Denise is like, you didn't. She's like, because hearing him so upset in the backseat of the car, and she starts crying. She's like, I felt so bad for him. And I was like, and she's like, I'm okay. And she's still eating charcuterie, but it kind of breaks your heart. Like, do you remember that back when you were a kid? And those birthday parties always give me anxiety. That's why I never have one for myself. They give like, it's too much anxiety. And just imagine, I remember that so specifically about wondering who would show up to your birthday party and just not wanting that pressure. And it was just this day where you would potentially feel bad about yourself. So justice for Henry's birthday. We can't invite Whitney or her husband, though, but everybody else should go. Lisa says in a talking head, the one thing I dissect is how I am as a mom. And she tells Denise, I feel like mom tried to make like our childhood magical, even though it was like hard because she had 6 very different kids. And so like, I try to be like that with Henry. And Denise is like, you are. She says in the talking head, it makes me so sad having a friend call me a bad mom because it must be like what she's always thought about me. That was truth serum for her. Denise says, you're an amazing mom, Lisa. And Lisa goes, I'm like such a baby, as she's eating cheese. I don't know. That was beautiful. Oh, I love Henry. Come on. I would go to Henry's party over that other kid's party in a fucking New York minute. What are you kidding? Anyways, we go to the next scene, and it's Bronwyn, Angie K, and Whitney. Bronwyn, they're all wearing these Missy Misdemeanor Elliott coats, but Bronwyn has the best. Hers is like pink and patterned. And when he's like, look at you, this is crazy. You look good. And Bronwyn's like, it's a sleeping bag. It's a coat. It's everything. So Angie K goes, is this where you walk, Bronwyn? And Bronwyn's like, sometimes. Usually I have my dogs, not friends. And then Angie K goes, I know, don't get a nose job. They never stop running. I don't even know where that comment came from. And Bronwyn's like, don't get one. I've had 2. I'm dying for a 3rd. I was hoping somebody was going to hit me at your party. I needed an excuse. And they all laugh. And Whitney's like, I'm pissed. I'm pissed off. I think that Lisa and John owe my husband a major apology. And Angie's like, do you think they owe him an apology, or do you think? And when he's like, well, John did text Justin, so we'll see. And we flash back to Justin getting a text from John with Whitney in the room. And Justin's like, just got a text from John. He said, hey, Justin, you and I should probably talk things out about what went down the other night. This is how men handle it. Head on, baby. Hell, I love this. John, I like this, John. Like, we should talk as men about what went on the other night. And Justin's like, I'm just going to be really direct back to him and just say, sounds good. Definitely want to talk things out. We're such a simple gender. Like, I'm going to write back, sounds good. I'm going to write back, okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Because, like, you know, the Housewives would be like, no, we've got to go online and we've got to try to find out deep, dark information about this person. And then we've got to try to make a fake Instagram account. Like, it would be a whole different thing. Whitney in the scene with the lady goes, I was just going to ask Lisa a few clarifying questions on what I had found out. And Bronwyn's like, that's what I wanted to hear, is why you think it's Lisa. And Lisa's like, Whitney's like, so we narrowed it down that it was Lisa Barlow. And Angie's like, I don't want to believe that she would do this, but I think when she gets angry, this is how she gets revenge. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know if Lisa does this, and I don't know if I really care, but I just think Lisa has so much going on. I mean, doesn't she have like the whole business? I mean, it's just, do these ladies, once they get on the Housewives, start like rotting from the inside of like, I've got to start reaching out to IG accounts and looking into Alibaba. I don't know. It just seems like it seems so hard to believe, because you think you would at this stage, and especially when you're on a show and you got all this stuff going, that you wouldn't need to do any of this bullshit, right? When he says Lisa hurts other people to make herself feel better. She learned that on her healing journey. And Bronwyn's like, I don't have that experience with her. And Whitney's like, I know, Bronwyn, but and Bronwyn, you know, Bronwyn's like, I hear what you're saying. And Whitney's like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And Bronwyn's like, I hear you. I hear both of you. And I'm sad that that's what's happened. I just can't say right now I've ever seen that in regards to Lisa. When he goes, she's going to treat you differently because you have everything she wants. And Bronwyn pauses and goes, oh, I don't love that. I hope that's not the case. If you're throwing a glamorous party, she'll be there. In a talking head, Bronwyn goes, I'm not questioning my friendship with Lisa. Lisa's never been vindictive to me, but you have to love Lisa for exactly who she is, because she's not going to be anybody different. That's it exactly. How many times have I said that on this show? Is that Lisa is so unapologetically herself that you like her even when you vehemently disagree with her, right? Anyways, Bronwyn continues the conversation. Well, speaking of parties, it was Tom and I's anniversary this week too. Not our wedding anniversary, but when I met Todd 10 years ago. So I have a big surprise for everyone. Who likes Long Beach? No, she goes, next week, I want to invite everybody and their husbands to go to Thermal. So outside of Palm Springs. And Angie goes, I love Thermal. Guys, I didn't even know what the fuck Thermal was before Salt Lake. I think it's a racing thing, but like, I would have been like underwear, what with Thermal. And it's like, Bronwyn's like, to the Indy race. And Angie's like, with our husbands? And she's like, yes, we're all going to take our husbands couples trip. And when he's like, we're staying in a house together? And Bronwyn's like, yes. So we've got to talk. And Justin, John, Lisa, Whitney can all be in the same house. And Angie's like, oh, yeah. And then Bronwyn's like, obviously, Brittany is not invited. Why is that obvious? I don't know still why that's obvious. And then Bronwyn goes, and I'm on the fence about Heather. I think Heather stirs the pot and then refuses to acknowledge that she does. I think Heather and I could have been friends, yeah. And Angie's like, yeah, and you probably will someday. That is so true with these shows. Even if they are at loggerheads right now, at another season, they'll probably be besties, right? Angie's like, in the meantime, I think Heather is losing out on relationships. She's only fully supporting Lisa. She's not trying to see both sides. She's taking things I say when I think it's in confidence, taking it to Lisa without giving me the opportunity to have that conversation with Lisa on my own. But also, Angie, that's bad on you because when you're on Housewives, there's no such thing as confidence. There's no such thing as, can we keep this in confidence? There is no such thing. Right. So Angie's like, well, she is meddling, and I know she knows I've been a good friend. So that's not fair to me. And Bronwyn's just shaking her head and Whitney's just listening. I don't know if Whitney's actually really truly listening, but it looks like she's listening. But that's one of those things. There's never a such thing as in confidence, but I totally get that sentiment. Heather does stir the pot. Heather doesn't acknowledge she stirs the pot. And Heather still has this kind of this popular, you wanting to be popular. And you remember from the first season, her relationship with Lisa was already so rocky at the start because Heather was a good time girl, according to Lisa Barlow, right? So we go to our next scene and we're over at Brittany Bateman's place and she is doing like a church service or like a prayer or, yeah, I love that. I'm trying to, where you get close to God and she's having people over to her house to sing and pray and her family's there. And we meet her dad, Mort, which by the way, I love a Mort. We don't have enough Morts in the world. Did that name go? I'm like, Mort, that name has stuck with me since I've seen this episode. Anyway, he opens the door and Heather Gay is there. So Heather meets Mort, her dad, and she's like, I love Brittany, Mort. And Brittany's very excited that Heather's there. And Mort's like, we're having a big shindig here, a big shindig. And we see all of Brittany's family and friends all gathered around. And Brittany says, this is part work, part family. And Heather's like, is this kind of like a family night? And she's like, yeah, family night, fireside. I think the Mormon religion, if I'm not mistaken, what did they do? Like Saturday or was it Sunday home evening or something? It was explained to me a long, long time ago where families, would get together at, a specific night every week and play games and talk scripture and all of that stuff. And I always thought that part of it, that aspect of it seemed kind of cool, So Heather also, obviously, I don't know if you've heard, she's Mormon. I don't believe Heather has, I think she's disavowed the church in terms of speaking about it, but I don't think she's excommunicated herself from it like Whitney did last season. I mean, part of me almost suspects, is Heather still active in the Mormon religion? Like, I'm curious what her journey thus far is. I mean, I'm not too curious, but I'm sure that'll come up in her next book, which comes out in December. Anyways, they're talking and Heather goes, I led church groups like this twice a week my entire life. It's a chance for Mormons to get together outside of regular church meetings and in a more informal setting and share their testimonies. And Brittany lets Heather know Angie's coming too. And Heather's like, oh, yay, good. All right. Heather's like, it's a big church party. And a talking head, she says, it's probably been 5 years since I've been to a fireside or any church activity like this, surrounded by Mormons and without a bag over my head. Hey-o. She goes, by the way, I will say Heather's talking heads this season, it's almost too marvelous Miss Maisel. It's too like set up punchline. Cha-cha, ow. Tip your waiters, ladies and gentlemen. So Heather goes, I feel like I should stand up and help you, Brittany. And Brittany's like, you know, do you want to conduct? And Heather goes, no, but it's second nature. And she's like, it's like going back to your first apartment. I would never want to live there again, but I can remember what it felt like. And I can remember how happy I was when I lived there. I mean, that's an interesting sentiment. I mean, it truly is. I mean, we all have these kind of phases of our lives that you move past or you know, grow past. And then, you know, you see that again and you're like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But it's still a little weird because you think about your life now and how much things have changed. But Heather's life was truly, truly so different than it is now. So it must be mind blowing. And that's why I think Heather probably has the hardest time adjusting to her new life. And I think that's why she sometimes seems not sloppy, but seems a little all over the place, because I think she wants all of this, but I don't think she knows how to do it yet, if that makes sense. And she's not an extreme character like Lisa Barlow. So it's like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of growing pains happening. So Angie comes and Angie's like, hey, Hopa, I'm Greek. So they do that whole, you look beautiful. Oh my God. And she's like, do I look prayer appropriate? And Brittany's like, you look stunning. She's peeking her head out the door to hopefully like, is Jared coming? Where's Jared? she's like, I brought you a little bottle of wine. And Brittany's like, you're so sweet. And Angie's like, when we pray at church on Sunday, we take communion. And listen, I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy. The communion wafers. I used to, I would, I would have this thought seriously as a kid, where I'd be like, God, I wish they sold communion wafers in like nacho cheese and Cool Ranch, because those things are tasty, man. And you would help the priest get the wine together, and have a little sip of wine. You felt like you were being naughty. Anyways, Brittany in a talking head goes, huh? Like, does she really not know? Bringing me wine? What? Mormons don't drink. Newsflash. Anyways, she goes, to walk into Mormon family night with a bottle of wine, it's just so inappropriate. Angie K and her talking head goes, look, I've seen Brittany sucking down wine at every event I've been with her. I know Mormons don't drink, but I know Brittany does. Hey-o. And we see this montage of Brittany sucking down wine at every episode this season. So Angie's like, so I felt like it's the perfect hostess gift. Anyway, Brittany in the scene goes, no wine tonight, but and there's shots of like the family like kind of giving weird looks. Anyways, okay, we're gonna start, everybody. Everyone's here. This is such a huge group this month. Thank you so much for coming. This was my mom's thing, and as you almost all of you know, my mom passed away last year, and so we're gonna honor her in our lessons tonight. We're going to start with an opening hymn. God, my mom would eat this up. And listen, my heart goes out to Brittany. Obviously lost my mom last year, a year and a couple months as well. So I am there with her. And my mom, she still loved Catholic Mass, and her funeral, we did do a Catholic Mass. That was something that she really, really wanted. And I've told this story, but I remember because I had to bring in the box of her ashes at the beginning of the ceremony, and come out with the priest. And it was like, so he's speaking on a microphone as we walk in, and I forgot what name the priest said. And I was like, oh, that's a weird name. I was trying to remember that name in the Bible, and then said the name again. And then I realized, oh, that's the place where he should be saying my mom's name, but he wasn't saying Rebecca. He was saying this other name. And I had to, what a weird moment too. Like, all your family and friends are there. And I had friends that surprised me and showed up out of nowhere. I didn't even tell them about it. And it was in Arizona. It was so emotional already. Right. And you're just kind of like, it had been a week, or I don't remember what the time frame was, but it was so weird. And you're dealing with so many things. And at the same time, you're kind of desensitized and deadened a little bit. And I just remember going, that's not my mom. Did he get the wrong name off? It reminded me of Michael Scott in The Office. And I had to tell the priest, I'm like, her name was Rebecca. And you have to laugh. But I was like, man, my mom believed in the Catholic Church so much. And then they're getting her name wrong. And I was like, if she's up in heaven going, are you kidding me? I only get one funeral and you got my name wrong twice. But we made a little joke of it. That was also, I remember I didn't have any proper clothing. I didn't pack right. And I'd been in Arizona, and I had to order pants on Amazon, black pants, because I didn't have it in me to go to like Target or something. And I ordered, I guess, the wrong size pants. And so I went to my mom's funeral without my pants buttoned. I had a sports jacket on and it was covered up. Like, the pants were tight enough, but I was like, this is insane. I'm like, my mom would yell at me so bad of like, are you kidding me, Ryan? So we got her name wrong. And then I didn't even fucking button up my black pants from Amazon. It was a wild time. It still is. Anyway, she starts off with the hymn, Brittany, and she's like, come ye saints. And Heather already, she's like, I know this one. All right, watch me for the changes. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Come ye saints, no toil nor labor fear. It's a banger, folks. But with joy wend your way. Do this enjoy, our hearts will swell. All is well. All is well. It's a little Taylor Swifty. I like it. And Brittany's kind of fake conducting. And then Brittany's like, okay, Dad. So the dad makes a speech, and she says, Katrina, which was his wife, her mom, says, my precious angel. She died, and then I cried every day, day and night for 2 weeks because we did everything together. We ran our business together, he says. We played pickleball every day together, and she won 60% of the time. People kind of laugh. It was like playing against a 75-year-old gazelle, and everybody laughs again. Moore says I couldn't hit it where she couldn't get it. And Heather laughs loud. Brittany says, the reason I love love is because my parents had the perfect fairy tale romance. And we see a picture of Brittany's family, and this just gives you a peek inside Mormons a little bit, but also these kind of families in Utah, and they're all dressed up like the Osmonds, like the Osmond family, or like the Jackson Five, or, like you see little Brittany with a microphone, and they're all in these kind of like blue satin and pink outfits. It's a wild, wild look. We never had a family band. So it seems like there was a lot of family bands that were kind of motivated by the Mormon religion. We also saw that with Welcome to Plathville as well. Anyway, she says, my parents, they did it for 6 days and got engaged. We're married 3 months later and happily married for 53 years. I want that fairy tale relationship, and I believe the perfect guy is out there. And so she's like, thanks, Dad. Thank you, guys. It was really beautiful. And I will say, listen, Halloween, I said this on yesterday's episode, but it would be my parents' 53rd wedding anniversary today. They got married on Halloween, which is so wild. They didn't do it because they were like goths or anything. They did it just because the church was free that day, like it was available. And I was talking to my dad about it when he was here last. And I said, did everybody go out like trick-or-treating after? He's like, no, it was a party. It was great. I was like, were people pissed that they had to go to a wedding on Halloween? They're like, no, everybody, they loved it. And to Mort, Brittany's dad, like my dad is in that same place. I was just texting with him earlier, and he's having a rough go of it. 53 years with somebody. You've heard him on the podcast, or you've heard me talk about it. It's a really, I think the whole family has gone through a rough time, but especially him. And he has his up days and he has his really down days, and the down days seem to happen really frequently. He's over at my sister's right now, passing out candy to the kids. But you can just tell, even, he was not a real big sentimental guy. That was more my mom, but he's very sentimental now all the time. And, any kind of, I don't know. It's hard to go through this. And you guys all know you've lost somebody you love, but it's also hard to watch, and your other parent go through this. And like I've always said, that sentiment of you start parenting your parent or just worrying about them like your parents used to worry about you. And you want the best for them, and you just hope that they can like pull through and just kind of get that life raft or that life preserver. So anyways, give a thought to Dad. So this was a nice little scene. And then she's like, okay, there's plenty of treats. Let's mix and mingle. Let's mingle it up. Let's have a fight for the housewives, right? Okay, so we got a shot of a charcuterie tray. This is our second charcuterie tray of the episode, if you're counting at home. And Mort says, Heather, thank you so much for coming. And Heather's like, I would not miss this. Brittany asks Angie, how was that? And Angie's like, it was beautiful. I mean, it's not a Greek event, but it was nice. Anyways, Angie says, it's been a minute since I've been surrounded by Mormons, but I loved every minute of it. Heather goes, I have stuff to tell you guys. I'm like, Heather, come on. This is the spirit of her dead mom. And Heather's like, Bronwyn invited me to her house tomorrow. And Angie's like, oh, I actually feel like she wants to be friends with Heather because I'm getting to know her. And Heather goes, so do you feel like you're getting schmoozed by her? Like, Heather, see, I almost feel like Heather is saying these things because Heather tried to be that schmoozer the first season. And you saw that in her relationship with Jen Shaw, especially. So I think Heather is like, is Bronwyn playing my game, or like, there's something familiar here? And Angie goes, I mean, to be truthful, my experience with her is different. I thought she was very direct. And then we have flashback to Bronwyn talking to Angie K, and Bronwyn going, I think you made a comment about Lisa's parenting to Heather. And Angie says she brought that information directly to me, right? Well, and Heather goes, that doesn't seem direct. That seems slimy as fuck to me. Let's watch the language at the church event, Heather. And also, this kind of seems slimy as fuck too. And Heather gets real indignant, like, that seems slimy as fuck to me. And Angie goes, but what she was saying is that you should have come to me and not taken my information to Lisa, Heather. And Heather goes, I did come to you. I gasped when you said it. And I said, don't mom shame Lisa about electronics. Yeah. If we can take one thing away from this episode, don't mom shame about electronics, you guys. That and charcuterie trays are amazing. And Angie's like, I wasn't mom shaming her. And then we flash back to that scene with Heather, even though they just explained what the scene was. But remember, they think we have tiny, tiny brains. Angie K in this flashback tells Heather, my daughter does need me. She needs a present mother. Like, I don't let her sit and fucking game till 2 a.m. so I can like leave the computer as a fucking babysitter. Back in this scene, Angie says, I never said anything about her being a bad parent. I never said anything about her parenting style. I spoke directly about gaming. Heather says, all I said was exactly what you said. And Angie's like, so when you take it to her like that, Heather goes, I didn't take it to her like that. Who told you I took it to her like that? Once again, church event, Heather. Angie's like, Bronwyn said she was crying. And Heather's like, well, she cried to me. Bronwyn doesn't fucking know. Bronwyn wasn't there. And she's like getting more like angry. And Angie goes, let me ask you this. And Heather goes, that's messy. And Angie's like, how do you think I felt when she said that about me? Like, where was the support for me? And Heather's like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're sitting here watching her call me a bitch and tell me to fuck off. And then we flash back to the Harley Davidson night where Lisa tells Angie, I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't give a fuck what you do. Don't do that to me, you fucking bitch. And Angie stands up. I didn't turn my fucking back on you and I'm fucking pissed at you. In this scene, Angie K goes, are you telling her you've kind of been a shit friend to Angie too, Heather? Like maybe she needs to hear that from you. And Heather's kind of shaking her head like, maybe you've got a point. And the talking head, Angie K goes, I've known Heather since I was 15 and she has always wanted to sit at the cool kids table. And we flash back to their high school photos and we've come a long way, folks. We have come a long way. These ladies look fantastic compared to these photos. Not that these photos are bad, but you know what I'm saying? It's like 80s hair. Angie goes, Heather will do anything to be at that cool kids table, right? Even if it means sometimes taking it for the wrong person. Angie says, I've seen you do this before with someone, Heather. And Heather goes, who? And Angie's like, with friends. And Heather's, what are you trying to get at, Angie K? Angie's like, I've seen you support people, whether they're right or wrong. And Heather's like, what? Who are you talking about? And Angie's like, girl, come on. And then Heather's like, Jen? And Angie's like, yeah. Jennifer Shaw. Yeah. We cut to commercial. So we come back. We pick up right where we left off. Yeah, Jen. In a talking head, Heather goes, this feels like a low blow. And that hurts my feelings. I think I have a very cloudy past with being blindly loyal to my church, to my friends. And we flash back to 2 seasons ago with Heather and the black eye and Meredith going, what's wrong, Heather? This flashback made me realize that Meredith hasn't really been in this episode. What's wrong, Heather? And Heather pulls up those sunglasses and we see that dark, dark black eye, which the more you think about it and the more you see pictures of this is like a botched Botox thing. I mean, I know we have blamed Jen for this, and I think that would be really fun and exciting and horrifying, but people like have seen, like, I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but people have shown me photos from that first night at this trip, and you can already see swelling on that side of her face. So we think it was potentially a procedure gone wrong, but who knows, right? Who knows? We just have Heather going, I don't know how this happened. In this talking head, Heather goes, but this is not what's happening right now. This is about the problem in Lisa and Angie's friendship, which is exactly why I told Lisa in the first place to make it about me and my loyalty is to miss the mark. But I'll let you know when I wake up with a black eye. Hey-o! Womp womp. Ba-da. Angie says, I feel like you are in this place, Heather, where you want to prove your loyalty to Lisa. And Heather goes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Angie's like, I don't even know if she deserves this much support from you. Seriously. And Heather goes, well, tell me more so I can understand your side. So now she's vacillating back to sweet. Tell me more. And Angie's like, I've seen you guys in the past. And Heather goes, we've moved on. I'm a star now. I did the receipts proof timeline, iconic line. We've moved on, and Bermuda changed a lot for me and her. Bermuda changed a lot for me as well. And she goes, and she's been a good friend to me. And I'm going to support that. By the way, Brittany is just listening to this whole conversation. And she's only thinking about Jared Osmond the whole time. And Angie goes, I've been a good friend to you, Heather, and you're not treating me the same. And Heather's like, why aren't you treating me the same? And Heather's like, I think I am treating you the same. And Angie's like, but you're not holding her to the same standard that you're holding me to. And Heather goes, okay, well, that's food for thought. That's charcuterie for thought. I've never considered that. And he's like, yeah. This is the first time you've communicated this to me, Angie K, and this is making me think and take pause. I love you. I respect you. I want you to feel supported by me. And I don't think you should question my loyalty just because I'm a loyal friend to her. Yeah. Heather gets a little bit of a high voice when she's trying to be soft. And I'm going to end the scene right now before things get more uncomfortable. So I'll just say, yeah, I want to be a good friend to you. Yeah. I feel bad that you guys are in the place you're at, but you can fix it. She can fix it too. She has stuff she's got to do too. I mean, the gaming, of course. We all do, Heather says. And Angie looks at Heather like, okay. Heather not fully engaging. Heather disengaged in that scene by just going, okay, we all have work to do. Sure. Bummer. Okay, so we go into this next scene and we hear the and we see this SUV trying to parallel park. And this takes about 30 minutes of the episode because this person in the SUV going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, who is the whole? I was, my first thought was like, is this Mary Cosby? But then I was like, would Mary be driving herself? But this is wild. Who is in this car that is taking forever to park? Because they just keep parking this car. It's truly wild. And it feels a little staged because the shot is so perfect where it feels a little bit like a bit, but I'm going with it, folks. I love it. Finally, this person parks the car, hops out, and it's John Barlow. What? You don't know how to park? And he's in his best Express for Men form-fitting button-up shirt. He looks like he's about to work at Sir. He sits down at this restaurant, and you tell he's little nervous. And then all of a sudden, we see Justin Rose pop in. He's like, I see my guy right over there. Okay, all right. And now Justin is wearing all Harley Davidson merch. Like, we get it. You ride Harleys. We just found that out this season. We had the Harley Davidson Museum, and now I feel like we are getting sold merch by Harley Davidson. So sits down and Justin goes, how you doing, man? And, John's like, I'm all right. This is such a guy. I'm all right. Oh, okay. And they're just awkward pause. And John's like, do you want to, should we get in the appetizers? I'm just uncomfortable right now. I don't want to talk about feelings. Do you want to get appetizers? John's like, I heard somebody talking about the smashed potatoes. So I think we definitely need to get the smashed potatoes. And Justin's like, all right, now you're talking, brother. Now you're talking. Pause. Waiter comes over. How you doing, gentlemen? Great. You have a chance to look over the menus. And John's like, we definitely want the smashed potatoes. And then Justin's like, can I do an old fashioned? John's like, you know what? Let's make it 2 old fashioned. 2 old fashions. It's a good start. Yeah, smashed potatoes. Got it. So more awkward silence between the men. And then John goes, before we go any further, obviously we have different perspectives on it. If you'll hear me out, I can hear you out. More pausing, but I like the cut of this John Barlow's jib. Like, this is very grown up. Justin's like, well, I definitely want to understand about Alibaba. No, he goes, I definitely want to understand like what provoked that. Because the fact that went down the way it did, 1, it surprised me. 3, I think, and John's like, which part surprised you? And Justin's like, well, the conflict itself, like when Lisa came directly at me, and John's like, yeah. John has she'll do that. She'll do that. Justin's like, obviously, I'm going to defend my wife. And John's like, yeah. And Justin's like, I didn't feel like what she was saying was appropriate in any sense, more or less, like the whole party heard that. And so I'm obviously going to respond because I'm a man. More pausing. And then John's like, well, what scared me, Justin, I guess is the way to put it, is you got angry fast and you took a step towards Lisa. And then we flash back to Justin stepping towards Lisa going, don't call my wife a liar. She's a liar. She's a fucking liar. And he's like, she's not a fucking liar. John says, if I were to take a step towards Whitney, I guarantee you'd be like, dude, you got to stop. You got to stop, dude. John's like, yeah, well, if I give you the fact that maybe you thought I was approaching Lisa, how did it happen the second time? Because the second time it was a lean up. So we have an approach now he's talking about, but we also got a lean up, folks. We got a lean up. And Justin's like, and it was just a simple, what is she lying about? And we flash back to that scene, the second, the lean up, and Justin's going, why do you keep calling her a liar though, Lisa? Because she's lying about it, Justin. No, she's not. Ask me. And then John comes over, and that's when he does push, like, and they're like, stay out of it. John's like, I apologize for doing that. It was a snap reaction. At this point, you just tell they're internally both just sobbing, like, I don't want to fight with you. John's like, it's kind of still from what happened before, the lean up. And I'm just trying to get any type of separation, So now the waiter brings out the drinks and the smashed potatoes that we've heard amazing things about. And Justin's like, that is awesome. That is awesome. Here's some house fry sauce. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Then John goes, but so do you feel like you're in a position where you should apologize to Lisa? And Justin like takes that in, like big pause. And he's like, wow. And I thought he was saying wow about the smashed potatoes, but he's like, wow. And John's like, I'm just saying, I think Lisa would like an apology, and I feel like she deserves an apology because it felt more aggressive than it should have been. And Justin's taking this in, and he's like, damn, mashed potatoes aren't going to eat themselves. He's like, yeah, I'll have to think about that one for sure. You know what? Let me think about that one for sure. We'll get back to you in Q4 about that one. In a talking head, Justin goes, obviously, I'm a little caught off guard. I don't feel like my reaction was anything different than what we see from her all the time. So I don't feel like an apology is something that I want to do right now. And these men are just like both casually sipping their old fashions just in silence. And then John's like, well, I guess play it by ear. Well, we've gotten the information out and we'll just see. And then Justin's like, yeah. God, I want to hug so bad. I want them to hug. It's just quiet. I don't know, you guys. That made me feel weird things. Okay, so now we're over to Bronwyn's compound, and she is setting up not one, not two, but our third charcuterie tray of the episode. But it's a little different than charcuterie because there's like some croissant and some, like a little crumb cake. So a little bit of a sweet charcutes, if you will. Bronwyn opens the door and Heather's there and, hey, come on in. Okay. And Bronwyn's like, are you okay with dogs? And she's like, I have tons, but I only have the nice 2 out today. And Heather's like, don't you have 8? And she's like, I have 6. Heather's like, thank you for inviting me over. Of course. Glad you could come. Good to see you. And they do this light hug. We're supposedly enemies. In a talking head, Bronwyn says, I feel like I've had a lot of blame thus far. Heather has not seen a well-rounded version of me. But I think Heather's very funny. I think she's very smart and very witty. And I think we don't get along because we're a little bit similar. Heather in a talking head goes, I'm really surprised that Bronwyn invited me to come over. I can only assume that she wants to apologize and make amends for the way she's been behaving. Pause. Because she's kind of been an asshole. Bump. Bronwyn tells Heather, we bought this house 2 years ago and we're still remodeling. I don't even have a coat closet yet, We see the beautiful view of Salt Lake Valley. Bronwyn's like, nothing is done. I don't have any art on the walls. I mean, all the art does seem to be on the floors. She's like, you can come see the house, though. You'll be the first one to get a peek at it. And we go into this pink room or pink office. And all of a sudden, this is when we see the dog poopy on the floor. But like I said, I'm pausing it right now. And I could be crazy, but there's like gold flecks in this poopy. So it's fancy poopy to me. And Heather in a talking head goes, if Mary's house reminded me of Whoville, and we see Mary's house from a couple seasons ago where Heather's kissing her house going, wow, this is fantastic, Mary. And she's sitting in that big like clown chair. And then Heather goes, Bronwyn's house reminds me of the Pound Puppy's palace. I want to keep eye contact, Heather says, but I also want to be careful where I step. You've stepped in enough shit with Jen Shaw already, Heather. Anyways, Bronwyn says, I wanted hot pink in this room, but it's this color now. And Heather's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Heather in the talking head goes, might I suggest next time that the first person you have see your home be the pooper scoopers? Wah, wah. I mean, this house is wild. Very. And so Bronwyn shows her the kitchen, the all blue kitchen, and she says, I don't cook ever. And there's all these mugs left out. And Heather's like, what are these mugs? And she's like, Todd collects them everywhere Todd travels. He's on his way to Korea right now, and he buys a Starbucks mug. We have boxes and boxes of these Starbucks mugs. And Heather's like, oh my gosh, what a funny little thing to collect. And she kind of like, what a funny little thing to collect. And she makes this weird face of like, weirdo. And Bronwyn isn't looking at Heather when she says this, so I can't wait for Bronwyn's reaction of when she saw this, of like, oh, Heather's really giving the side eye here. And then Bronwyn says, and then Heather started, then Gwen started collecting the espresso cups. Okay, come on, sit down. Let's go chat, Heather. And then Heather's like, snacks, I'm so happy. Oh, good. I deserve a little crummy cake. She's a sucker for a crumb crust, she says. Bronwyn says, I'm glad you wanted to come over. I wasn't sure you were going to say yes. And Heather's like, I know. I was surprised you invited me because it seems like you don't like me very much. And she looks directly at like with that little smile. Oh, man, I am just not feeling Heather this season. So there's some tense music and we cut to commercial. We come back and Bronwyn's like, well, it seems like you don't like me very much either, Heather. Look, I can say I'm sorry that it's gone sideways with us and it didn't go the way I wanted with you. And Heather's like, what didn't go the way you wanted? Well, I think we chatted very little at Lisa's event when I first kind of got to know you. And then we got together a couple of days after and talked about the event. And we flash back to that scene from earlier in the season where Bronwyn is talking about Whitney's healing journey. Like, do you want to see the healed Whitney? And it's like, do we practice this in the mirror at home? And Bronwyn to Heather says, I left thinking like you and I, we were having fun. I thought we were talking about everybody. I didn't know them super well. And then I thought you were telling Whitney things that like I said to you, maybe in a different tone than I'd said them. So when I heard that you and Angie were talking about Lisa, sure, of course, I was messy and I told Angie. So that's not a great way to handle that either. So I can apologize for those kind of things. I do want to point out this is the same situation that Angie K is saying about Heather. It's the same thing about the tone and the retelling. And Heather is like, Bronwyn says, I thought if Heather thinks she can tell everybody what I said with her stank on top of it, then I can tell Angie exactly what was said with her stank on top of it. I love it. Heather goes, that by definition is messy. Bronwyn's like, I know you feel that way. So I said, I can apologize if it comes across messy. And then Heather's like, it comes across messy or is messy. And Bronwyn's like, if for us to move forward, I have to say it was messy, I will own that it was messy. I like that this is like a brokering of a peace treaty. Heather's like, you don't have to say anything you don't want to say for us to move forward. And Bronwyn's like, well, I do because I'd want us to move forward. But this is not the end of it. I love it. She's like, because I have not yet heard you say one time you were messy. And let's face it, Heather, you have stank all over this thing. You were inappropriate. You were too far. In a talking head, Bronwyn says, from meeting Heather, she has been telling people that I am vicious and two-faced. So I am happy to be her fallible friends and apologize for my part in this. But I need to know that Heather at least understands that she has been a part of what's wrong between the two of us. Heather in the scene goes, I mean, you are a saint. You are better than me. And Bronwyn's like, it's like Heather's like, you understand everything. And Bronwyn's like, no. And Heather's like, you don't ever talk shit about people. Heather's being real snarky. You're never messy. And she's like, no, that's not fair, Heather. And Heather's like, I don't feel like any of this is genuine. I don't understand why you would even invite me over. And Bronwyn's like, I'll be honest with you as she sips out of her Starbucks mug. I invited you over because I am inviting everybody on a trip this weekend. And I don't know that you and I are in a place for you to come, but I think if I don't invite you, that is going to cause a huge issue and you and I will never move past it. Heather's like, so you're planning a trip and I'm here to like sing for my supper? That's right, baby. Sing time, Heather. Let's go. She's like, earn an invite? There's more of a pause and Bronwyn's kind of taking this in. Heather, I think you want to feel that way about me. At this point, you're saying, and Heather's like, I'm very confused by you. And Bronwyn's like, I've apologized. Heather's like, I thought you wanted to come over so we could, you could apologize for the things you've done. And Bronwyn's like, why do you think you should come over and I should apologize? And you should take no responsibility for any of what's gone on between the two of us. That's really what you thought was going to happen when you came over. Heather's like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And Bronwyn's like, but 2 or 3 times you said, I think you say different things Oh, no, Heather goes, I think you say different things to different people, and I didn't know what you were going to say to me in this moment, and I don't know if that's what you say about me behind my back, because I've seen how you talk about people behind their back, Bronwyn, and that makes me very terrified. That's probably how you talk about me behind my back too, and you do have a skewering humor. And Bronwyn's like, you also have a skewering humor, and you have come very hard for me. I am not a good friend. I am terrifying, but husband was stupid not to have a prenup with me. You said all of these things. And Heather's like, you are putting words in my mouth. No, Heather, these are all the words that you have said. Heather goes, I think it is stupid for anyone to not have a prenup. Marriage is a financial transaction, Bronwyn, and you and I both know this. And Bronwyn's like, in no way, shape, or form was that a friendly comment. Heather in the talking head goes, I could apologize for asking about the prenup. I don't give two shits about the prenup, but this was just her trying to find a reason to not include me on the trip. She's not only shown me her shitty house, she's shown me her shitty intentions. And I don't really care for either of them. I said shitty twice. And Heather's like, why do you want to mince words with me, Bronwyn? I'm not mincing words. I'm repeating exactly as I said it. And Heather goes, I feel exhausted. And Bronwyn's like, I'm sure you do. Because you are trying to keep up this facade, Heather. And we get a shot of the dog going, oh, shit. Archie Bador told me about this. Oh, God. Heather goes, I want to leave. I love when Heather gets uncomfortable. I want to leave. Receipts, proof, timeline. Heather goes, I appreciate the invite for having me over. Your home is lovely. I feel exhausted and sick to my stomach. I'm going to shit myself like Shannon Bador. This is not like the type of friendship I want to have. And Brad was like, okay. And I'm glad that you have so many new friends. And Bronwyn was like, oh, Heather. And Heather like, to supplement. So many new friends to supplement. Bronwyn says, I am truly hurt by this because I was willing to take responsibility. I was willing to apologize sincerely. To not be able to say anything that you've done in this is truly lacking self-awareness. And then Heather, when walking out, goes, I'll work on my self-awareness. I appreciate the tip. Bronwyn says in a talking head, okay, I'm not giving Heather a phony version of me, but I did think about what the best version of me that could show up in this conversation was. And if that's not good enough for Heather Gay, that taps into one of my most serious fears, is that the very best of me is not good enough for someone else. I believe the great Kelly Clarkson once, no. We see Heather going out to, like, there's like 5 SUVs in the driveway for some reason. And Bronwyn's trying not to cry inside by her dog. And that's the end of the episode, folks. Next week on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We said next time on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Does that mean we're taking a week off next week? Oh, please, God. Anyways, we see that we're in Palm Springs. All the people are there. Seth Marks is there. And Lisa's like, Bronwyn, oh my God, this house. We see volleyball being played. We see them playing a game, and Angie K is like, what is your husband's favorite sexual position? And Lisa's like, I don't want to write it. Seth's like, I'm going to write every position. I like it all. I like the freaky deaky stuff. And then we see Angie K's husband saying, Meredith, I didn't say anything about Brooks. And Meredith's like, you did. And Angie K's husband's like, and I'll double down on it. And then all of a sudden, we see Seth Marks pull out his phone and go, proof, biatch. Biatch. And then another scene where Whitney's talking at a table with everybody going, I felt very uneasy. And Lisa's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you felt so uneasy. Like I felt when your husband's like, fuck to me. And Justin's like, you're so crazy. We're going to need a lot more smashed potatoes next week. And then we see Bronwyn talking at the pool to Lisa going, oh, when it's me and somebody else, it's my responsibility to work out. But when it's you and someone else, my ass better ride your dick like it's my job, Lisa. Man, this Bronwyn, you do not mess with her, dude. I'm telling, we got layers on layers with this housewife. And then we have a scene with Lisa talking to John, and Lisa going, what did Todd just say to you? And John's like, he just said Bronwyn's like real upset and wants us to go. Have you tried to get him smashed potatoes? No, he just said Bronwyn's real upset and wants us to go. And that's it. Oh my God, what a season, folks. Happy Halloween, folks. I'm going to go out to a concert right now. I was going to do the after show, but we're already 2 hours into this thing. And I do. You guys are sick of me. Anyways, how fun, right? This was a great episode. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, even if you're watching this on YouTube. And come back on Saturday for an OC recap, baby. Bye. Happy Halloween.